Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 484 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy? Always popping his
Yo,
collar. Look at him. Look at him. Feeling all feisty
well,
on a Friday.
I'll tell you what, Tyler. I'm feeling pretty good. It's Friday night, whole bunch of random shit happening, but at the same point, playing lots of Elden Ring still, and I'm having a good week. So I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Oh, just clanging and banging as always, Gables. You know me. Doing okay. I am on my very last Mountain Dew Hard.
Well, at
And
least you're almost done with it.
it's the black cherry one is I saved the worst for last. The black cherry, which oddly enough is my favorite of like the White Claws and all those like the what are the I don't know what they're called kind of drinks. I can't think of the name of the types of drinks they are, but like of those like the White Claw type, the White Claw family, as the kids say. The black cherry is always my go-to, but somehow Mountain Dew like the other ones are pretty good. Even the watermelon one, oddly pretty good. The black cherry ones are awful. So I had 3 of these left. Well, I have 2 left. I drank one a couple weeks ago. Then
Yes.
I had 2 left. So I drank one before the show, and I'm almost done with the last one. I'm very proud of myself. I'm happy that it's finally over, Cables. It's finally over. I could be free, and I can go back to drinking my better beer that I have in my fridge. So, oh god, I'm so burpy. I just hate it. I just hate the way it makes me feel. But I couldn't waste it. I just had to drink. They're very expensive. It's like a $20 12 pack. I'm like,
Damn,
I gotta
dude.
drink them. So yeah, they're over. It's over, Gables. The week is over. It is now the weekend. We were recording this on a Friday night. Typically, Saturday night is our recording night, but I have plans this weekend. Justin, who, if you don't know, is my best friend. I've known him for 25 years. He's getting married next month. So we are doing a bachelor party for him tomorrow. I'm really excited. He doesn't really know what we're doing. It's not too crazy, but it's gonna be a very good time. But yeah, so we're doing that tomorrow. So Gables was nice enough to accommodate me to do this, even though he has to work tomorrow. So I appreciate that, Gables.
All right. Hey, no
Um,
problem.
but yeah, this is the DrunkNerds podcast, where every week we get together, we talk about video games. We've been doing this for almost 9 years now. 9 years in May. We're sort of, Memorial Day weekend, so we're a couple months away from that, Gables. But yeah, if you like this show, please go to wherever pods are cast, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those places. Please like, follow, subscribe, share. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click the like button over by Gable's junk area. He will really appreciate if you do that for him. And I'll appreciate that as well, because that's just more likes. And the more you like our podcast, the happier it makes you feel, and it especially makes Gables feel. But if you're watching us on YouTube, also please, if you go to the link tree, if I remember to put it in the show notes, it's like I'm batting like 700 on that, which if I was a baseball player, I'd be in the Hall of Fame. But if I put it in the show notes, go down there, click the link tree, and that will show you the links to everything we are available on, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcast now, I guess is what they call it. All those places. Please go there, follow us, like us there, and download the audio version of the podcast, because every time you download it, we get 1 penny. No joke, we get
Hey.
1 penny. 1 penny. So every time you download it, that's one step closer to Starbucks drinks, which Gables, obviously, as if you're watching us on YouTube, just take a drink of a Starbucks drink.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't even playing that. He just did it.
Oh.
So Gables and I are whores for Starbucks. So we will gladly do terrible things for Starbucks, like do this podcast. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please don't leave. Stick with us at least to the end. But anyways, Gables, let's get some of the news this week. Starting with, it's not been a crazy news week. A lot of smaller topics. I thought it'd be a little bigger because GDC is going on this week, the Game Developer Conference. But it's been like 3 years since they've had one. Obviously, it's COVID. It's been going on in San Francisco, and I'm like, does things happen at GDC? I don't remember. And like sometimes you might hear some some announcements, or like I think what's gonna happen is, because there's a lot of journalists talking to game devs. I think in the next couple weeks there's gonna be some leaks coming out, because people got some drunk at some parties. It's kind of like it's like the NFL Combine, where like they all go to like watch the college players right before the draft, and it's like all like the journalists and the NFL like scouts and front office people, and they all get drunk at the bar and they start telling each other rumors. And telling each other, and like, that's when all the rumors come out and all the secrets come out. It's like that, but for video games. And I feel like in the next couple weeks we're gonna get some nice juicy scoops. But for right now, not a whole lot. But we'll have to wait and see. But there are a couple things that happened out of GDC that we'll mention later. But starting off though with this one that broke today from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, and so a lot of people are starting to corroborate it, like Jeff Grubb, who's a known leaker, and a lot of other sites are kind of talking about it as well. So the PlayStation Spartacus, which if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock for a long time, is the kind of like their Game Pass equivalent, which that's kind of like the go-to phrase for it. But I've talked about, I don't know if it's fair to compare it to that. But anyways, apparently it's going to be unveiled sometime next week. We thought it was going to be a couple weeks ago. We knew it's coming up soon. The plan was always to release it in spring. There was a rumor that it was going to be a couple weeks ago because there was going to be a state of play happening, which the state of play happened, but it was like Japan related stuff. So apparently that's going to be announced next week, which makes sense because now we are into spring. They've been doing like behind the scenes like testing of it for the last month or so. So it sounds like it's going to be coming. We don't know if it's going to be out next week, but it's at least going to be unveiled next week. For people who don't know real fast, kind of the plan of it is there's going to be 3 tiers. There's going to be a $10 tier, which is just the base PlayStation Plus as we know it, the same thing it's been for years. There's gonna be a second tier. I can't remember the main, like it's gonna be like $13 is with the, obviously the price that people were saying the prices aren't concrete, but this is kind of like what like some of the stuff they've been hearing. It's like $13. It's gonna be like PlayStation Plus with PlayStation Now combined, and then like the top tier is gonna be like $16. And it's gonna be like all that stuff plus like game trials and better discounts and like you get more options for you get more games. And like the idea is it's gonna be mostly focused on the back catalog of PlayStation games, like PS1, PS2 games, and PS3 games. No confirmation on if they're gonna be like downloadable or streaming only. Because like I think PS1 and PS2 games you can download, PS3 games you can only stream. So that's been a big question. The new big PlayStation games will not be day one. Games like when God of War Ragnarok comes out, that will not be on the service right away. That'll still be a $70 title. But they did
Makes
say
sense.
that, yeah. So we can jump into that more as we go here. But some of it said talk about that is like they want to have a very impressive launch lineup. We don't know what that means as far as like is that just back catalog stuff? Is that going to be? Are they going to have like we saw like Shadow Warriors 3 was a PS1 or PS Now day one game. We've seen in the past like PS Plus games have been like day one game, like Rocket League. Fall Guys. We've seen there's like that was it last year, the puzzle game I don't remember what it's called. That was kind of it got mixed reviews on. But we've seen in the past with PS Plus they've been doing that, but so it sounds like they're going to focus more on that, but also like we don't know like is it gonna be more indie stuff day one or is it gonna be like bigger third party stuff? Whatever. Anyways, so it sounds like it's gonna happen next week. We'll have the big blowout and everything. Well, obviously, we'll talk about it next week if it does happen. We'll talk about everything. But I don't know. Give us what's your excitement level? What's your thoughts level on this finally happening?
Keeping the excitement level at a moderate type of thing because it could be just like what rumors have been covering to where it's like a merger between PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, meaning possibly like the same type of things being available, only like different type of price tiers, just based upon what you want to do in terms of a service. Like if you want just the casual online or just the bare minimum and stuff, you can still do that. I mean, granted, if the rumors are true and stuff, and you have like a whole bunch of like monthly fees and stuff, you're gonna be paying more for PlayStation Plus, obviously, for a year than you were initially. But other than that, though, I'm kind of interested in seeing what their catalog is going to be when the eventual Spartacus does go through and launch on the PlayStation Store front and stuff, when people have an actual chance to go forward and sink their teeth into. Because the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is the availability of some of the classic games that they have inside of there. I mean, obviously, original PlayStation, PS2, potential PS3 stuff, that all depends upon what they do with their PS3 emulation stuff. Because part of the reason why I have a PS3 right now is because, well, that system is kind of hard to emulate for, and
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the reason why it's being streamed through PlayStation Now on PS4 and PS5 respectively. But yeah, definitely the classic games. I would definitely want to see where that's going to go forth with that. But seeing how appealing the price ranges are, seeing what type of the incentives and stuff. But yeah, I'm just up the boat where I'm keeping it moderate. I'm not too excited. I'm not kind of like keeping a low profile or anything else of it. I just feel like it's going to be that type of thing where it's going to be announced. People are just going to say, "Oh, okay, I can understand this and that," you know. Which I can understand why Sony is taking the direction where they don't want a lot of their big main first party games available day one on this service is because they want to get as much bank as they can from these initial $70 purchases possible. I mean, it makes sense from them business wise because why would you want to put them all on this service here for free and stuff where you can go immediately get that $70+ investment day one?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't have. I mean, Sony's situation opposed to like what Microsoft is doing right now. For Microsoft, it makes more sense for their first party stuff to go on this type of a service because it's kind of etching forward to where a lot of even some of their physical games or some of their first party physical games are not entirely on the discs themselves and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pretty much taking Halo Infinite in terms of that perspective to where even when you have like the actual game disc and stuff, you're not getting the entirety of the single player on the disc itself. It's just the multiplayer thing from what I've understood. But but yeah, just seeing what Microsoft has for their scenario, and then seeing PlayStation, Sony doing what one they want to do and stuff. It's gonna be fascinating to see what their response is gonna be towards Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And we talked about this about a month ago when the leaks happened as far as like the pricing, what the pricing would be and stuff like that, kind of what each one would bring. I'm kind of curious what like we would go. So we know it's like they're basically combining PlayStation Plus with PlayStation Now, but I'm curious what that third tier is. Like, what's the big difference there? Like exactly like cool. We have game trials and like the time might vary, kind of like what EA Play does with like you get a 10-hour game trial for all their games. But it sounds like it's not gonna be just a blanket time. Like it's gonna be game to game because obviously like 10 hours of like a God of War Ragnarok game trial is a lot, but like but like if it's Gran Turismo, 10 hours there is completely different kind of thing. Um,
Right.
but like I'm curious what that third tier is gonna be. Like what really sells it like to go more than it's just PS Plus and PS Now combining together. Um, and like possibly what they're gonna do as far as like indie games go. Like are they gonna have day one games? Are they gonna have like are they gonna have like those the double A kind of games and like day one or like what are the options going to be for the third party stuff? What's going to be the first party stuff that's on there day one? Is like Miles Morales going to be on there? Is Spider-Man going to be on there? Like we know all the PlayStation collection stuff that's on the PS5 already will be on there for sure. But like what are they going to add to that? I imagine they're going to add some stuff to it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like I said, I'm going open minded, and I've said it before. Like I don't know if it's fair to compare it to game. I'm like maybe not fair, but like I'm not going to compare this to Game Pass. I know it's going to be difficult because Xbox, PlayStation are competitors. Like it's impossible not to compare them, especially if the price points are going to be similar. But I like the thing I said last month was like I look at this more like it's kind of like a combination of really what like Nintendo is doing with their online stuff, where it's like here's a bunch of our old games in a service, and then also kind of like more like what EA Play is doing, where it's like you're gonna have our older games, our games are gonna be there day one, but here's trials for these games that are coming out, like you could play them like a week early or whatever, and then also like here's a bunch of back catalog stuff of our games, and I think that's more what it's gonna be like, and eventually like maybe as time goes on, like they add those games to the service. Like we see like Madden 22, the new Madden every year always comes to EA Play, usually the week or two after the Super Bowl. Same with like NBA 2K22. A lot of times you'll see that come up. It'll be free on PS Plus or Game Pass, something like that. Around the NBA Finals, like you can always kind of plan that out. So I think of it more like that. And I think it's been very interesting. People have been talking about like if it like these day one, and like I'm really not trying to be like a fanboy here. I'm just trying to like I love Game Pass. I have been a backer of Game Pass for many basically since it began. But like I always feel like I always gotta like defend like PlayStation on these kind of things sometimes, especially with this where I keep hearing people say like, well, if it doesn't have day one games, then it doesn't have a chance. And I have a lot of things to say about that. One, with the day one thing, the big reason why the Xbox went to this route was A, they were losing, B, they didn't really have a lot of day one. They didn't have exclusive games to begin with. Like that was the whole like issue with Xbox One was there was very few first party games, and when the first party games that did come out, like think how many great Xbox One exclusives were there? Can you think of one? Like Gears 5 was my favorite. Gears 4 and 5 were my two favorites, but like the Forza games were really good. And that's about it. Where like maybe the PlayStation first party games aren't your thing, but you can't deny that like they're for people they were commercially really successful, and also people for the most part people loved them. That's what like their point like business wise, I would love it if like God of War Ragnarok came to this service day one. I would save a ton of money if PlayStation games came to day one on the service. I want that badly.
Shit.
But business wise, it's really stupid because you know why? Their games sell. When we talk about like Halo 5 sold, I think like 4 or 5 million copies. Where like Days Gone has sold 7 or 8 million copies. That game was considered a disappointment. Horizon, Spider-Man Miles Morales, God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 2. All those games sold 20 plus million copies.
Yes, they did.
So it'd be really stupid for them to do that. Where like I talked about like Halo Wars 2, which I know is not a mainline Halo game, but it is a game with Halo in the title, sold less than 500,000 copies.
Yeah, and that was a sequel to a game that was initially an Xbox 360 classic type of game that it did perform all right in terms of that stuff, but that was highly coveted in terms of a sequel for years.
Yeah, it's a fucking Halo game. Even though it's an RTS, it's still a Halo game. So it's a big part. Like when you're losing, and you're not, you don't have first party games, you have to do drastic. We've seen that over and over again. We've seen PlayStation do that with PS4 when they were losing, like all the things they did when they totally like, oh, we're cheaper. Oh, you want to, when Xbox said you got to be online all the time, it's like, you don't have to be online. Oh, you want to be able to share your games with your friends. Here you go. Like we've seen that, and it's going to happen eventually when the Xbox, cause I think eventually Xbox at the worst case will be neck and neck, and they will be on par together. And maybe they already are. I don't know. But when it comes to first party stuff, not yet. But when they get there, there's going to be a day where PlayStation is going to do the same thing. And that's part of my point. And then also my point is like going back to like what I was saying about like people like loving and talking about how like PlayStation games have to be there day, like the day one, they have to be there. Like I just said about Xbox One games, Game Pass has been around for almost 4 years now. Came out, I believe, around E3. They announced it, I believe, at E3 2018. What are the big Xbox exclusives that have come out before last year? Take out Halo, take out Forza Horizon 5. Obviously, those are the two biggest ones. Before that, what we got? Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Crackdown 3. Those are the three big ones in the previous 3.5 years that thing had been out. Not exactly like, I mean, like Forza Horizon 4, very good game. Gears 5 was my game of the year for 2019. Love that game. Crackdown 3 was a game that came out. We don't need to say anything more about that. So that's my point is like, people say that, oh, these have to be there day one. No, they don't. Because the best part about Game Pass is, and Game Pass is amazing. It's awesome. Gables and I have been broken records about how much we love Game Pass, especially me.
Well, yeah.
Over the last year and a half, 2-3 years. But the best part about Game Pass has been like these awesome indie games we find on them, or these awesome like AA games we find on them. We talked about last year. We did our beginning of this year, last year, whatever it was, when we did our Game of the Year list. Like I had 3 or 4 games on my Game of the Year list that were Game Pass games, and and only one of those was an Xbox exclusive, or an Xbox was Halo Infinite. Everything else was not an exclusive, was not like an Xbox studio game. So that's where I look at, like, if they could come out and like like I said, I'm not like if we're gonna like inevitably pair these two together, or like when we compare these together, which I understand is gonna happen. It's the nature of the business. They're competitors. They're creating this to compete with Game Pass, so it's gonna happen. But we gotta look at it a little more open minded with that. We gotta like take that away. Where we just could compare it on merit, like an awesome back catalog, which I think both can have, and then what are the kind of games we're gonna see come out like on day one of them. We've seen, like I mentioned, we've seen good PS Plus games come out day one on PS Plus. Like I just mentioned, Rocket League, Fall Guys. We see this not all the time, but a few times a year we get a pretty solid indie game that comes out on the service day one. Bugsnax, another one. So yeah, I'm looking at it like that. I'm gonna go in open minded. I do want to know how it's gonna work for people that have like PS Plus already. Like someone like me, I think I had PS Plus
really.
until like June 2024, so I'm good for a while. I don't think they're gonna do the thing that Xbox did, where like they like, hey, for $1 you can upgrade to it, and they just add it onto your time. Like if you had like 3 years of Xbox Live Gold, you just pay $1 and they just get Game Pass for for $1 for 3 years. I don't think they're gonna do something like that. I wonder if like, hey, just pay the additional, just pay the difference type of thing, or I'm curious how it's gonna work. But I don't know. I'm sure they have a plan for that, obviously, because people that pay, most people probably pay yearly for it. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm going in open minded. My big thing is like if it comes out, the biggest disappointment is gonna be for me is like, if this comes out and PS3 games and like old games, you still have to stream them. That's gonna be the biggest bummer. Or if at the very least they don't, like there was that what's it called when you get the rights to something, the patent. They had the patent to be able to like basically like modify the PS5 to like download like PS3 games essentially. So if they at least have like say like, hey, it's coming out, you can't do it yet, like, but there's a plan. There's this plan, and they have a good timetable for it, and it's like soonish that, hey, you can download PS3 games onto your console, and here's when. It's 3 to 6 months from now. That will make me feel a little better. Not super happy, but like, I don't know, it'd be great, like to be able to like go back, like I've been wanting to go back and like play Metal Gear Solid 4 for a long time, but I've been purposely waiting for Spartacus to come out in the hopes that I can download it to play this game. And like the Ico, I totally missed that game. I want to play that game. Obviously I love Japan Studios, so I want to play that game. So yeah, like I said, I am optimistic, open-minded, and I can't wait. I'm really excited to see what they do and what they have, and like what they're gonna do to kind of like compete in this streaming world or this subscription world that we're in now. So anything you want to add, Gables, before we move on?
Oh no, I think you perfectly summed it up.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I went long on that. I meant to make that quick, and I did not. I apologize. But moving on, Gables, too. I just wanted, I thought it'd be important for us to update. Speaking of PlayStation, it'd be kind of a PlayStation heavy podcast a little bit this week. So we talked about Gran Turismo 7 last week about all the issues. Like it just came back up when we recorded last week, and there's a lot of issues about people were upset that they made it so that you earn less rewards to buy stuff in the store, and then like they raised the prices of stuff in this, like for microtransaction sake. So everything was built around you basically paying more money, real money, to unlock things. So they came out with a blog today. Some of the stuff here, they're saying that they gave all players that played the game before March 25th, as long as you logged on before April 25th, you get $1 million of free credits, which I guess is like around $11-12 in real dollars. So it's not nothing. They said that there's gonna be some updates over the next month to fix a lot of things. These will not be like all day one, or this is not all fixed today kind of stuff, but they will increase the rewards in the events in the latter half of the world circuits by approximately 100% on average. Because like a lot of things people were saying was like they like dropped like the earnings from like anywhere from like 10 to 50% on stuff. So
yeah.
Addition of high rewards for clearing the circuit experience. So I'm not like, I don't play Gran Turismo, so I don't fully understand all the things they're saying here, but this is kind of the stuff they're saying here. Addition of high rewards for clearing the circuit experience in all gold and all bronze results, increased rewards in online races, included a total of 8 new 1-hour endurance race events, 2 missions. These will also have a higher reward settings. Increase the upper limit of non-paid credits in player wallets from 20 million credits to 100 million credits. Increase the quantity of used and legend cars on offer at any given time. Another thing they did say is that a big issue people have is like previously, if you play as you played the game, you would unlock new cars just from playing the game, and then if you didn't like them, you can sell them in the store, and then buy new cars with them. And in 7 here, they took that option away. You still earn the cars, but you can't sell them if you don't want them. So that was a big complaint from people as well. And they said they're going to fix that as well. So still bullshit they did it. I feel, obviously this isn't like oh, we forgive you, PlayStation. We'll polyphony.
Yeah, polyphony.
Fuck yeah. It's so hard. I can't do it. I just did there, but other than that, I can't do it. So yeah, it's still bullshit. They tried it. We bitched about this last week. But I mean, I guess, hey, I don't know, I hear us, but it doesn't make it okay. What about you, Gables?
When it comes to this, yes, it's not okay to where they initially had the offset to where this thing was initially in their plans where they wanted to make sure that people wanted to invest inside of a lot of their microtransactions in order to fully get the full experience of their game in general. You pay $70 for Gran Turismo 7, right, on the PS5, 60 for the PS4, give or take. But in that regards, it's like you got reduced amount of income in regards to what you earn per race. On top of that, you have to grind a hell of a lot in order to get the stuff that you do want to get. And on top of that, you have certain cars and certain cosmetics and stuff that are so overly priced in regards to literally like some cars are like $40 per car.
Yeah. Where in the previous game they are $1 to $5. Now they're $5 to $40. So yeah.
Now, granted, I do appreciate that they went through and addressed their fans to where it's like, okay, we're gonna give you this so much credits and stuff in this regards, and we're working on the improvements to the specific type of issues that players have been having. I hope one of those issues that they do resolve is in regards to playing the game offline, if they wanted to play the game offline, because that game is so heavily tied with like a DRM type of thing to where if the PlayStation Network goes down and stuff and you want to play this game offline or something like that, you couldn't even do that when their servers were down.
Yeah.
That happened not even that long ago, and it pissed a hell of a lot of people off who bought the game, because it's like, here you have the $70 game you just purchased at a retailer, you just purchased online and stuff through their storefront, but you can't play it because it's always supposed to be connected online. You can't.
And it went down on top of that, went down on Thursday night and didn't come back up till Saturday morning.
Exactly. So, you have like a 30-hour difference roughly
prime
and stuff.
Gaming time.
Yeah. Yeah. A demo.
Yeah.
But I am glad that Polyphony Digital has went through and addressed their fans. They're obviously a lot of the gamers in there that want to get a good amount of time playing this game. But at the same point, it's like they got to improve upon a lot of different core aspects if they want to earn more of the trust of their fans in general. Because it definitely does not excuse the fact that they were going through and intentionally leaving the stuff out when reviewers got their copies of this game.
Yep.
That can't be hidden in that regards.
Literally an Activision move.
Absolutely. Because absolutely, that Activision did the same thing with Crash Team Racing.
Yeah.
When that game released a couple of years ago, that updated classic. But that's just the thing, man. It's like gamers trust. That's a real thing of concern right there. If you have to slide things under the radar, so that way after a game's post-release or something like that, you initially toss in via an update. It's like, okay, now here are the microtransactions. Just to get the bad PR, like, after launch.
Yeah. You get the good reviews.
Right after we bought it.
Yeah, you get the good reviews, you get the game, people buy the game, and then you upload it. Yeah. It's just like, it's shitty because, like, they know it's shitty. Yes. So it's like, it's not like
that's them admitting it is shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have to hide it and then do it later. Like, what you're doing is the shitty things. Like, it's one thing to, like, at least be upfront about your shittiness, and maybe we can believe to a certain extent that, like, you don't realize how shitty you're being. But, like, yeah, and then it's just baffling that companies still try this. It's like, you think some companies are smarter, like, like we've seen this a lot with, like, Xbox last year with like Halo Infinite with their online stuff. This is much
Right.
worse, I think, than what Halo Infinite did. With like the whole thing, like the progression system was completely broken and stupid. It was just built around you spending money, and then like the cosmetics were way too expensive. And in this game, it's even more egregious. And then, like you mentioned, adding the microtransactions in after the game came out, post reviews, and then lowering the rewards you earn in game to make you spend more money on these overpriced microtransactions. Like I
Literally
said,
an Activision move.
yeah, it definitely,
And
it
literally
is.
an EA move too.
It's a playbook that they created, and then when you're copying shitty Activision and EA tactics, you're doing a bad job. So I don't know, like you expect more from places, and you like it baffles you. Like just I get like they just want to see how much they can get away with. It's like, well,
At
maybe
least
if
they
we
didn't go the NFT route though.
not yet. That's why Uncle Phil Spencer, God love him. We all love him. I loved it, and also Reggie from Nintendo, well, formerly of Nintendo, bashing the metaverse and NFTs. I love that.
I love that too.
I will,
I have to admit.
I will forever be fans of you. Well, I shouldn't say forever, unless they do something. We find out some shit later on. But for right now, I will forever be a fan of you guys as long as you keep bashing metaverse and NFTs. But yeah. Anyways, Gables, moving on here. Some other exciting news here. We are getting a new Ilphonic game, which is the people, if you don't know, they're the people that made the Friday the 13th, the Predator Hunting Ground game from a few years ago. They had another game that came out earlier this year that was like part of the state of play. This looks like a free to play. It's like a free to play game on PlayStation that looks like it's just. I'm pretty sure it's dead already. I don't know if it's out. I think it was like a demo or something, but it's like I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't matter. That game, if it's out, it obviously doesn't matter. If it's coming soon, it still doesn't matter. Anyways, they are coming out with the Ghostbusters game called Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. Interesting. They talked about like we all loved Friday the 13th game. You and me played a shit ton of awesome gamer nights with the Talk Ship guys. Predator Hunting Grounds I like quite a bit, but like obviously the issue is it's an online 4v1 online game. It's really important to have friends to play with. Didn't have anybody else to play with when it came out, so I didn't stick with it too long. And then you and I tried playing it during Extra Life, but the game had been out for a couple of years at that point. And by that point, it was just hardcores playing it, and then we just kept having internet issues. So it just was not a very fun experience at that point. So they've kind of talked about like some of the charm of like Friday the 13th stuff like that is like it's janky and stuff in ways, but it's like a charming. But it also helps that it's Friday the 13th stuff like that. They said they are like aware of like that's the kind of like their what's the word, like reputation that they have of this, and they want to kind of break away from that. So they're trying to make this more of a better polished game, which I hope is true, but I hope it just runs better. But I don't know. The jank is kind of part of the charm for these games. But anyways, it's coming out Q4 of this year. I'm expecting like Halloween time. It is a 4v1 Ghostbusters game. It is technically it's part of canon. It's gonna be it's supposed to be post Ghostbusters Afterlife, the movie that came out late last year, which is actually fantastic. I love that. I grew up a huge Ghostbusters fan, and I really loved that one. And I bawled like a baby at the end. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, I'm like I always think of what's that fucking movie? With the football movie from the 90s.
Football movie from the 90s?
With Mox.
Oh, you mean the what?
Billy Bob.
The
Fuck!
Longest Yard?
No! That was like 2000. That was like an 80s, like a 70s movie. God damn it. What is that movie called? I'm looking it up, Gables. It's got the guy from Dawson's Creek in it. We're stopping the show until I figure it out. Dawson's
Rudy, is it?
No! What are you talking? Dawson's Creek football movie. There we go. We're getting somewhere here, Gables. Yeah, I'm gonna be really Varsity fucking Blues. That's the name of the movie.
That one. Oh,
all that
the one
for
with the stripper. Yeah.
Yes, when they find out the teacher is a stripper. But Billy Bob. I always think of I was thinking of this the other day. Where at the end of the movie they win the district championship to go to the playoffs. and they're going through and like telling like the story of what happens to everybody in the future. And Mox is like, I never play football again. And then like I can't remember, like Skeeter, who's like the wide receiver that's always like, it's a party guy. He's like,
Yeah.
after he won, Skeeter, he drank, well, because Skeeter drinks. And then Billy Bob, who's the offensive lineman, he's like, well, Billy Bob cried because, well, Billy Bob cries. And like, that's me. I'm Billy Bob. I fucking cry. So all that just to say that part. So anyways, great movie. You should all watch it. I love that movie. It's one of my all-time faves. But anyways, get back to the game. I don't know, that was not at all important. But so stupid. This is why you should download the show audio wise and make sure we get that penny. I deserve a penny for that.
Oh, you now that you solicited that stripper.
Billy Bob asked his teacher to go to the prom with him. Will you go to prom with me? God, what a great movie. I'm gonna go watch that movie tonight. Now after this, I think it's on HBO Max. But anyways, Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed. It's a game that's happening. It's 4v1. James and Elise Williams from, I believe, Rooster Teeth or Funhouse, one of the two. Are they the same thing? I don't know. I don't fully understand that world.
Well, they're owned by the same company, I think.
Maybe that's why I always mix them up. But they're like helping co-write the story for this. There's actually gonna be a story mode. You can play it offline, which is great. Like I said, there's gonna be an actual campaign because typically you're just doing like there's just a 4v1, and there's just a handful of maps and you're just doing that over and over again. So yeah, offline mode and story mode, stuff like that. Raul Coley is gonna be one of the voice actors in it. He's been in like a ton of stuff. He blew up in the Netflix TV show last year that I really liked. Man, I'm blanking on goddamn names, but it was a very good show.
Hunger Games.
Gables, you're the fucking worst. I hate you so much. That didn't come out last year. That was like 8 years ago. It was like a 10-year-old movie. Jesus, you are the worst at this. Remind me never to play the name game with you. God damn. I would be terrible at it, but you would be worse. Anyways, also Greg Miller, owner of Kind of Funny, Ghostbusters super fan, also gonna be a voice actor in it. But they had a trailer come out for this one. They actually got Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd to play the voice to do the comeback for this. Yeah, no, doesn't sound like Bill Murray's gonna be part of it. But I'm actually excited for this one. Like I said, I really like Predator Hunting Ground for what it was. Friday the 13th was a blast. Obviously, the tough game with these, obviously with all online games, always better with friends. But these games I think would be super fun. Hopefully that we can get like, if we can get like people to play together on this one, that'd be a fucking blast. But also the fact that it's gonna have a story mode, and I could be able to play offline, it's gonna help. Like I'm curious, like this could be one of those things where like I can't wait to see people say about that part because that might be the difference of me like buying this when it first comes out or me finding it for like $20 6 months later. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Gables, what's your thoughts on all this?
Hey, I'm happy. No, you know what? I'm pretty happy that there's a new Ghostbusters game going to be coming out soon. You know, that's pretty cool. Honestly, I do like the Ghostbusters films and stuff like that, and I'm kind of interested in seeing how they tackle a 4v1 Ghostbusters game.
Yeah, so like you're gonna have like the four of you obviously work together, and then the other person plays as a ghost, and he can possess items. It's gonna be more family friendly, where the other like Predator and Friday the 13th are more gory, but yeah. It's a lower budget way. But like this one's like you don't die, you just get knocked out and stuff like that. So it's not gonna be like they're definitely aiming this more towards like a family friendly atmosphere, which makes sense. It's Ghostbusters, but yeah, pumped. Can't wait to people have to say about this when it comes out because I'm definitely on board. The fact I'm on board for pretty much anything Elf Longs does. But moving on, Gables, to I think will be a last topic of the show. Witcher 4 was officially announced. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, GDC happened this week. So a lot of game developers are in town in San Francisco. And basically they announced this. They had like a teaser trailer showing off an emblem. A lot of people are mentioning that like they said this is a new saga in the Witcher series. And then the emblem is not the emblem that we are typically used to seeing for Geralt. So it sounds like, and I only played Witcher 2, and I played like the first couple hours of Witcher 1, but I didn't play Witcher 3. But everybody keeps saying is Witcher 3 pretty much has a definitive ending. No idea what that means. Obviously, we've seen in the past things have definitive endings and they change it because they want to keep making more of them. But it sounds like this could be different. characters, stuff like that. But so it could be a brand new character, main character, all that, and also they are moving from the Red engine, which is like their engine that they built in house, which obviously they've had a lot of problems with in the past. Looking at you, Cyberpunk 2077, um,
Mm.
and they're using the Unreal 5 engine, which is like the new big Unreal engine that people are like a lot of devs are geeking out about. We're hearing about a lot of developers like are like making like working like really kind of experimenting right now, and that's kind of like the go-to. It's very open and it's easy for people to like make a lot of games in. Most games are made in the Unreal Engine. That's like the Fortnite. That's the Fortnite engine, but it's very easy for people to kind of twist it and make it for their own thing. We've heard about that. We've heard about like EA what they made the Frostbite engine, which was made for Battlefield, and we've heard like people like the Need for Speed games like no, you have to use this engine for everything in all the EA studios. We've heard about like obviously like Mass Effect Andromeda. That was like the crowning jewel of like this is why you shouldn't do that because we seen that game and like BioWare had major issues with working on that engine. We heard about the Battlefield 2042. Like they kind of tapped out that engine and they've had all kinds of issues working with it. And even though they're the ones that studio is the one that created the engine, they can't make it work anymore.
Right.
Like now we're hearing like the next Mass Effect game will be in the Unreal 5 engine. We're hearing about like we hear more and more about more studios are going back to Unreal instead of like just pay the fee to use their engine, so that way, and also like part of like we everybody talks about is like there's a work shortage everywhere, and kind of the benefits of it right now is that people like when companies are more desperate for talent and people, hey, more benefits for us, pay goes up, better vacation, better things like that. Who would have fucking thunk it? So that's a big reason why is like I guess that like people were saying at GDC. I was listening to a couple podcasts and they're talking about like there's a lot of people out there going around like recruiting right now at these because like I said there's a lot of game developers going there either trying to find work or like people are trying to recruit people to come work for them, and they said there's just CD Projekt people everywhere walking around trying to recruit people to come work for them, and that's a big part of it. Like, hey, we're gonna come here. You don't have to learn a brand new engine. You're gonna work with Unreal. If you're a game developer, you know Unreal, so you hear that too. So it's a really strategic move to announce this game at GDC while everybody's in town, so they can recruit more people to come work for them. So yeah, that's happening. It's like the no shit, no duh. Like everybody knew Witcher was coming, but it's just like, hey, we're announcing now. It's like it's probably gonna be 4, 5, 6 years away. What about you, Gills?
I'm not surprised there's going to be a new Witcher game in the works. I mean, even with how successful Witcher 3 was, and especially with the debut of the Netflix series like a few years back and stuff like that,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, there was no doubt in my mind there was going to be another Witcher game. Now, whether or not this is going to be taking place with like characters like Geralt, like Geralt and stuff like that, that
yeah. I'm not
remains to
sure
be
if it's
seen.
Geralt or Geralt. I'm not sure. So go
But
ahead.
what initially could be done if they're doing a new saga and stuff, it's probably gonna be an entirely different type of Witcher. I wouldn't say like his daughter or anything else like that. Probably someone else. Probably
Yeah,
some other Witcher in that regards. I mean, there's definitely plenty of directions they could go forth and do. But the fact remains is they're switching engines and stuff. I mean, that's a great move for CD Projekt Red, obviously, because of the whole Cyberpunk debacle. But at least with this point of view and stuff, they have a groundwork type of plan where they want to go forth and they know which engine they're going to develop for. They know like a concrete type of thing. Okay, we're going to do a Witcher thing. We're probably not going to see any hide or hair of this probably for like another 5, maybe 4 or 5 years. Maybe it's announced right now, so definitely it's going to be taking like a few years for us to even see any remote type of like screenshots or any type of gameplay. If I had to take a guess, maybe another 2 or 3 years from now.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm fairly happy that there's going to be a new Witcher game in the works. Now, my wondering is if it's going to be like kind of tied in more so of doing kind of like what the previous games and tie in a lot of the lore, tie in a lot of like the different types of directions of what you can choose. Because even with like Witcher 3, from the short amount I did play of it, there definitely was a lot of choice where you can go through and say, okay, I can go forth and try to save this town, or I could just totally ignore this quest line and stuff like that, and just go to different other types of things, and it's like those quest lines that really determine whether or not if you could finish a quest line, or you just completely ignore it and stuff, and that thing's gone forever, and you were gonna live with your repercussions of your choices and stuff. And that was some aspects of that Witcher 3, which played a huge part in how making that game successful.
Oh yeah, I remember
But
yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say I remember playing Witcher 2 and I made a major decision, and it's
mhm.
I looked up how drastic it was. It's no, you just there's 20 hours of content you just won't see because of this one
Yeah,
decision you made. I'm oh wow, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was the first time there was you always hear oh Mass Effect or Telltale games there's huge consequences here, but it's yeah they're you're gonna see 90% of the same game, but the interactions will be slightly different. It's
Yeah.
okay, but it's no Witcher is no you're just gonna miss you have to play the game 3 times to actually see all the content. So
And that's it can be a good thing if the
yeah.
game is really fun and really replayable, which Witcher 3 was for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and then they did a really good job with the DLC and stuff like that. The Blood and Wine, I think Blood and Wine is what it's called. So I mean, the Witcher games always seem fantastic. I love Witcher 2 when I played of it. I put a good 20-25 hours into it. I don't know why I stopped. Witcher, I tried playing on my old laptop at the time, and it just was it was a cheap laptop, and I was this is not going great for me. So it was also mouse and keyboard. Ew. So yeah. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm happy for people. People are really pumped for this. So, and I think it'd be a good idea. Witcher 4, maybe start with a brand new character, or maybe you create your own character and do your own thing, and make it easier for people to jump in. Especially now, who knows in 2024, 2025, how big Witcher will be if that TV show is still around. But we'll have to wait and see. But moving on, Gables here with some other news this week, some smaller topics. The Switch just randomly added folders to the system. Finally, 5 years in, I believe it's VentureBeat had a really good headline called "The Switch 1,844 days after launch adds folders," which I got a good laugh at that headline. So yeah, but it's weird because it's not on the home screen, where you would see
No.
what the Xbox does or what the the PS4 would do, or I was great having folders because here's my folder of shame games, games I want to play or I want to beat that I haven't played, I haven't got a chance to beat yet. Here's my online games. Here's my Netflix streaming apps, whatever. And then here's then I have my games I'm currently working on. This is 3 tabs over. I'm going to create a folder. It's just going to be called Games Better Than Breath of the Wild. And I'm just going to add every game that I own into it. So that's my plan.
Yeah, pretty much. So where it's you basically have to go all the way to the end of where the all software tabs is, and then you have the option to where you can create a folder, and I understand why they added the feature in and of itself, though, but if it doesn't affect what you see on the home screen and stuff like that, when you boot up the game first and foremost, I mean, what the fuck was the point? I mean,
Yeah.
it does not make it any easier where you have to go all the way to the all software things and then you can go forth and choose this or that. It's if it were more easier in terms of creating the folder on the main page, putting a whole bunch of the games, you type in and stuff and add it right there, and all of a sudden having freaking bubbles,
Mm.
for each individual spot, with a specific game or something as a cover art or some of that sort. I mean, hey, that would have made more sense, in my opinion.
I'm going to create a folder called Games Better Than Breath of the Wild. And it's just going to be Pitter Pot.
Yeah, really.
I just want to say it pissed off Gables. I'm never going to let that go for him. Gable's favorite platinum of all time. Moving on. Suicide Squad is officially delayed to spring 2023. I was when I heard this news, I was this is old news. Because we talked about it months ago. Well, it wasn't officially confirmed. It was just everybody was saying, no, this game got delayed internally to 2023. Even so, in what's the quarterly conference that they had, they mentioned all the games coming out in 2022 that they had planned. They mentioned Hogwarts Legacy. They mentioned Gotham Knights. They did, and a couple other mobile games. They did not mention Suicide Squad. So this is the worst kept secret in gaming. but it's officially delayed to 2023. But it's coming out. They as of right now said spring. So spring is obviously in gaming it means anything. It's anywhere between March to July. I think that's the window for spring. So who knows? Delays happen. Kind of a bummer, but I don't know. I want to see more of that game. Anything you want to add to that one, Gables?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't really think I can add too much. I mean, I can understand why they had to delay the game. I
Yeah,
mean, for God's sakes, we don't even know a quarter of what the game is or what, with that stuff. We only knew by a couple of trailers what their innate intention is, but
yeah,
we still have yet to actually see what the identity of this game will be.
yeah. Like all the stuff for saying it's a live service game, but like they like have made the trailer of gameplay that we've seen so far, not show the fact that it's like a live service. It's always funny when like games are like trying to hide the fact they're a live service game. It always makes me laugh. It's like if you guys know it's bad, why are you doing it? But
Yeah,
anyways,
true.
it doesn't make any sense to me. PlayStation Studios. This will be a last little other like small topic here. PlayStation Studios has officially acquired Jade Raymond's new studio, Haven Studios. We talked about this last year where they announced a partnership deal with them, Haven Studios, Jade Raymond, who's mostly known for like the Assassin's Creed games. She was like the one of the top people. I don't think she was a director, but she was one of the main people in the first, I believe, like 3 or 4 Assassin's Creed games, and she worked on a couple other big Ubisoft games. She moved on, I believe, I think it was EA. She was working with for a while, making one of the Star Wars games that got canceled. Then went to Stadia. Then obviously we know what happened in Stadia. And then she created her own studio, and Haven Studio, and then PlayStation announced that they're in a partnership with them. And they're making a multiplayer online game for them. We don't know anything about this game. We don't like I said like all this came out I think the latter half of last year. And to no one, I don't think it's really a big surprise that they just went ahead and bought the studio, which I think makes sense. You're already working with them, and they're probably going to be cheaper now than they're ever going to be. Because if this game comes out, it's a huge hit. The price is going to go way up for them, and do it now while you can spend like interest rates are dirt cheap for studios or for companies to take out loans. So I don't know, makes sense. What about you, Gables?
Yeah, it's a smart acquisition by Sony in this regards. I mean, they've been working with Jade Raymond here for a while and stuff, and now going forth and funding their initial project, like her initial project with her development team and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that definitely makes sense for PlayStation, especially like you were stating before. It does become like a big hit or something like that. Then yeah, it's a interesting foresight in regards to like kind of future proofing you if it doesn't do so good or something like that. I mean, hey, big deal.
Mm.
But if it's they didn't spend too much, but if it's like say if it's a majorly popular or something like that, then they probably just saved themselves quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the news this week. Not like I said, not a lot of stuff going on. But moving on to what we've been playing. I have not played much this week, Gables. I played some more of like the Mario Kart new tracks. I'm still enjoying those ones. Um,
Right.
but the main thing I did play just came out today, so I haven't had a lot of chance. Just got picked up after work. Haven't too much time to play it. I played Kirby in the Forgotten Lands. I've only done. I'm at the boss of the first world. So essentially, I beat like the demo had. I think there was 4 levels in the boss in the first world, and the demo had the
Right.
two levels and the boss fight. So I've done a little bit more, I guess, than what the demo had. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. It's very charming. I like the opening video. They do not show it to you in the demo. I like the fact that they took some stuff out in the demo that they don't kind of spoil in the beginning. I don't want to spoil it, but the opening part with the credits was awesome. I'll just say that. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because I want people to experience that if you're haven't got a chance to play yet, because like I said, it's only been out for literally less than a day for us as of right now. Yeah, it feels really good. I like all the power about abilities we got so far. Like I got like the fire one, where like you can shoot fireballs. I like some of the mouthful mode stuff, like obviously being like getting the car, the cone. I got to the one where like you are the stairs, which is really funny, really cool. I like I'm I've almost I missed one Waddle Dee and all the levels I've beaten so far. Because like there's like each like the whole point is like is saving all the Waddle Dees. Like you don't have to get all of them, but like you have a town that you can focus on building. The more Waddle Dees, like the more stuff unlocks. And, you get coins, stuff like that to buy, unlock, and upgrade abilities. Um, but yeah, like it's fun. It shows you all the things you can do, and then like there's always a couple secret things you can do to unlock Waddle Dees and find Waddle Dees. So I'm having fun with that. Um, yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking it. It's not like it's been pretty easy so far, but it's been fun. And I've heard people are saying later on it's not like super hard or anything like that, but it actually does have a challenge to it, which was like my big, like I said, I've been saying for months since they announced this game. Actually, it's been over a year now since they announced the game, I believe. That was like I'm super pumped for this game. I just want to know if it's not like super fucking boring. Um, and, like it's not like the Yoshi games or like the past Kirby games where it's just going through them, like you can just kind of zone out and beat the game without even paying attention. And people are saying that's not the case. So yeah, I'm excited to play more of this. I'm definitely gonna put more time into this, and it doesn't sound like it's. I heard if you want to mainline it, you can beat it in like 5 to 6 hours. But if you want to put, there's a lot extra stuff you can do. Like probably take you closer to 8 to 10, which sounds perfect. Because so far this year it's just been open world game after open world game. So this is a nice, perfect game for me. And Gable, speaking of time sinking open world games, tell me about Elden Ring.
All right. I'll tell you what, though, it's like you put some good stuff in perspective there to where it's like this year has been one open world game after another open world game and stuff, and then probably
Yeah,
eventually going into another one down the line later
yeah.
on in
I
the
mean,
year. But it's like for Elden Ring, for Elden Ring is like kind of the exception for me because it's definitely an open world style game that I have not really played before in some aspects to where it's like all right, yeah, you'll have a whole bunch of your quest lines. You can go forth and manage them and do this and do that, and then like if you complete them, that's fine. If you leave a bunch of side quests, I mean that's fine too, or something like that. But I do like how the game is so structured and stuff. It's basically your choose your own adventure and stuff kind of aspect. It's sort of similar, kind of how with the original Legend of Zelda, how that game initially you start off with you just start off and stuff with your shield and stuff, then you go down, and you find the old man that gives you the sword, the man, the sword and stuff like that. You're just left to explore
it's
everything,
dangerous out
figuring
there.
out
Take this.
secrets. Yeah, but that core aspect is definitely a much in play with Elden Ring, because kind of similar to how its predecessors, like precursors and stuff like that. This is the type of game to where I've now spent over 70 hours playing, right? And it's still that kind of discovery. It's okay, what's around this corner right here? What happens if I go up to this tower over here? Okay, I'm gonna encounter a big giant bird boss or something like that I had no idea that was gonna spawn out of nowhere and just literally start pecking into me to death. Well, yeah, that's definitely a couple of scenarios that played out in this game. I mean, granted, this game is unapologetic when it comes to specific boss battles, when it comes to specific situations and stuff. It's the type of game to where you do not want to go into clusters of groups of enemies because they will do, like I termed last week, the familiar phrase, the wombo combo sort of aspect, to where you're going to bounce off from like one enemy to another and stuff, to where they're going to just basically gang up on you and just beat the shit out of you, and then you're just going to be left like, what the fuck? I got to get out of this situation here. Why am I in this situation? But during last week, I kind of figured out that there was something that I needed to improve upon in terms of my gameplay. And the initial thing I started researching is like, how do I get better with like my weapons, right? Because before I had found some smithing stones, some somber smithing stones, I was able to improve certain weapons and make them strong enough to where I could adequately go through and get some bosses and stuff. And this is after doing a lot of power leveling stuff. I am definitely over level 200 at this moment in time. I've had a lot of investment inside of a lot of different stats. Obviously, you can do bare minimum in order to require wielding some weapons and like some other stuff. My main goal was actually to find bell bearings. and these type of bell bearings and stuff will actually unlock a lot in terms of what you want to do to invest. Basically, you use like a specific vendor inside this round table hub to where if you present this statue with these bell bearings and stuff, it'll allow you to open up an option to where you can buy the specific stones right there and basically buy as many as you want through collecting runes and this and that. And so that combined with the farming spot I got over in the Mogwai like palace, that has led to me going forth and master classing at least one weapon. But even with like some of the ultimate like the final things to master a weapon and stuff, there's only like a specific number of them inside of the game. But when it comes to bell bearings, I pretty much have collected all of the bell bearings for like the smithing stones and the somber smithing stones. That required me to go to the Icelands, like the giant, like snowy mountains and stuff inside this game. The process in doing that, it wasn't too overly difficult, but exploring that big old snowy mountain with all these giants and all this other stuff, man, it was definitely like it was definitely an experience, I'll tell you this. Because I was just exploring around the area, doing this and doing that and stuff, until I came across this specific type of chasm because I wanted to see what this floating platform that was chained up in the sky is doing. So I go towards there and I trigger a boss battle. I'm like, okay, oh, a fire giant. What the fuck's the fire giant? And all of a sudden I see this 30-foot giant like in the background, right? This big old like Norse sort of like giant or something like that.
Was he on fire?
He throws fire.
Oh fuck, it's even worse. Okay.
Dude, he throws fireballs at you. He'll go through. It'll stomp the shit out of you. But
What if
what's
it was
more or
like
less?
what if it was like a hobbit that was like made of ice? Like that would be awesome. I just wanted like, or what if it was a troll? What like I was gonna say, what if it was like Elden Ring was just trolling you, which would be even fucking funnier. If it was like, yeah, it's a fire giant. Oh no, it's like it's actually a very small like hobbit that was just made of ice. That would be fucking fantastic.
I would laugh so hard if basically they just troll you. It's like, okay, here's this ice hobbit right here. It's
Yeah,
like, where's the fire giant? And all of a sudden the fire giant just stomps it. Like,
yeah.
"Get
Oh, that'd be fucking great too. Oh, it'd be great. Or what if like the fire giant comes out and then like the ice hobbit comes out and kills the fire giant,
Oh my god.
and then you gotta fight the fire. Then you gotta fight the ice hobbit. This is amazing. What the fuck are we
I'll tell
doing
you
here?
what, there really
Miyazaki,
isn't.
call me. I have ideas. Fuck your finger spiders. I just gave you ice
Oh.
hobbits.
Oh, by the way, I did encounter the finger spiders. Oh my
God,
gosh,
I
dude.
can't. I hate
The way
I
they
can't
crawl and contort, where it's like just like.
Ugh.
I've seen the giant ones too. They kind of remind me of like these the freaking like a crazy ass like wall masters from Zelda. Only
I
a
just
lot
think
worse.
I just think of the hand from Adam's Family, like if it was on speed.
Yes, thing.
Yes, Thing. Thank you. Yes, but if
But
Thing had a drug problem, that would be this.
God,
Can a hand have drug problems? I guess you can inject a needle into the hand. See, I guess it's possible. I answered my own question. Go on, Gables. I apologize.
hey man, no biggie. But after fighting the fire giant a couple different times, and then getting subsequently stomped because I was circling around with my freaking mount and stuff, and try to do like I was trying out all sorts of different things to beat this boss. From speeding up to it and trying to slash it and stuff while on horseback, from using a weapon that I encountered from the Radon boss battle, which was that bow and arrow and stuff, just shooting across the damn thing and like hitting him from far away, but that still didn't do enough. I even tried to do like that exploit to where there's a one exploit to where you can jump out of his arena, land on a freaking like cliff and stuff, and like kind of cheese it to where you go off to the corner, just start shooting arrows at it like from a different direction. FYI, they did patch that, so you can't no longer
Okay.
do that. And
What
I didn't really know about it until after I went to the boss battle. I'm like, oh, okay.
how would the hand inject the needle into itself though?
That's a
If
good
Thing
question.
had a drug problem, like could it two finger it? I don't know. Three finger. Well, I guess you could do it with three fingers, but like you don't have the wrist motion to like get the grip. I'm sorry. I'm thinking out loud. I'm apologize. Go back. Go ahead, Gables. I apologize.
No, you see, it would have to position the it would have to position the needle or
Got a
something like
pen.
that, like standing up on end, and it'd have to fall on it. No.
Give me a second, Gables. I'm gonna write some shit down here. Let me find. I gotta find a piece of paper.
But anyway, after encountering that boss battle, I decided, okay, collect all the bell bearings, and I'm going to fully upgrade a lot of the main weapons that I do have, which is basically my dual scimitars and like the ore, meteor blade, and the moon veil. I got those going up to snuff. I finally was able to do a combination of my summon and to get that freaking giant at least halfway. And here's a little spoiler things for you inside this boss battle, Tyler. When this boss gets to half health, one of his knees dislocates and he
It's
falls to the
gross.
ground, and he literally tears off his own leg and starts speeding you with it.
I respect that. I respect that
Oh
very
yeah,
much.
so that happened. So basically, I ended up beating the fire giant. I thought that was freaking fucking amazing. And then I learned that the bell bearing that the bell bearings, the last few that I needed, were inside the next area to where I was going to. And so I go to the specific price point, a story event happens, and I'm transported to this sort of like a tornado island sort of thing to where there's like this big old coliseum in the middle, but there's tornadoes like circling through and all this other shit. And as I'm exploring it, I'm starting to find the last bits of like the bell bearings and stuff. Right, I found a bell bearing for like these glowworth type of items that'll help you level up your summons. But I came across another boss room, right? Now, I think it was either last week or the week before I told you about the story about me going inside the village of those maidens and stuff and then facing off against a god-sworn apostle or some of that sort. Well, I did face off against another one of those, only it had a friend. It had a it had a freaking Chris Farley size fucking like partner with him, right? And the thing about this grotesque dude, he'll actually inflate and he'll start rolling at you sideways and stuff, and he'll try to smash you. And here's something that I didn't realize when I went into that boss battle. After you die a number of times, I didn't notice this, but there's actually a summonable AI character that can help you inside this boss battle. I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's new. I'll try that one out. And you know what? I was able to go forth and I was able to beat the Godskin duo, both those Godskin duos and stuff, and I was rewarded with ball bearing. I think it was like number 4 or number 5 or something like that. So there was that. And then I finally got to a certain extent to where I felt comfortable in that area. I collected a whole bunch of stuff and obviously redeemed a lot of the bell bearings and stuff like that. But I know currently when it comes to Elden Ring, I have been going back and forth on what I wanted to do, and one of the main things I wanted to try to tackle during the next week is I wanted to try to defeat the last remaining type of like main bosses and stuff of this game. Because I was looking at a bunch of the like the actual bunch of the bosses inside just the Limgrave area, which is like the starting like area inside the game, and there's literally like 40 bosses in that one area, which I think I faced maybe about a good solid 18 to probably 20 inside of that whole entire area. But I'll tell you what, though. From the bosses I have faced so far, I've had a couple of good favorite ones. I mean, the Radon fight, that was a fucking epic fight. For the listeners and for the viewers looking in and stuff, I showed Tyler that boss battle because
Yeah.
he has not seen anything remotely related to Elden Ring. He's blocked the term on Twitter because he's
Yes,
got
I
sick of
did.
hearing a lot about it.
I can't take it anymore.
But bar none, that had to have been one of the more craziest boss battles I've ever played in gaming. I mean, absolutely. And from what I understand, from software standards, that's one of the hardest boss battles they've ever put inside of a fucking game.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that's what makes it so memorable. It makes it so rewarding when you fucking beat that dude. Because it's like he'll literally toss everything in the kitchen sink at you, and he'll literally shoot across like a 50-foot gap and stuff with these fucking bow and arrows. You'll get one-shotted if you fucking don't dodge that thing. But yeah, as far as the main bosses go, I mean, I've beaten Radon. I kind of cheesed like Mogwai, like Mog and stuff like that from doing that fucking glitch where you can just jump around his damn thing and just get a whole bunch of like fucking experience points that way. I mean, hell. that was something I wanted to try and see if it worked, and it worked, you know. And I got his rune and stuff, and then it's like, of course, I beat like Margaret and like freaking Godric and stuff like that, and I even defeated Margoth over at the central like Imperial type of thing before going into like the ice and the land of the giants and stuff like that in the snowy region and stuff. But hell, I've even done so far during the last week to where I now have an element to where I can respec my character. I didn't realize that you can actually respec your character and try to change the different stats, and what you require to do that is by getting a larval tier, which is as weird as I'm saying, you know, it's like there are specific enemies inside the game, or even like certain vendors that will drop this thing or sell it. I've gotten two of them. There's like three in the entire game, which I didn't know that before today. But what's crazy is like how you respec your character. You have to go to the Lacaria like library like section, which is like right in the middle of the swamp, and you have to face off against this boss, right? And I'll tell you something, Tyler. It's like you've seen like how creepy some bosses can be, and especially the things I've described to you inside this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine walking to a library, right? A central part of like a main library. And then you get right to the middle of the room, it's all dark, and all of a sudden you just see these like either young adults or something like that or whatsoever, you know, they start grabbing at your legs, and all of a sudden the cutscene goes down, and you see these bookworms or something like that just crawling up at you and stuff like that, kind of all creeping and menacingly, and all of a sudden it's like the lights peer on, and you have this giant witch or something like that on a freaking like moon in a freaking tilted hat or something like that, just go and do a lot of like a various like magical attacks and stuff. Yeah, you know what? That was a creepy setup for a boss battle. I do admit that I like that. I did like that. I mean, Nightmare Fuel, yes, but it was definitely memorable.
No, everything you're saying, Gables, sounds awful. I'm not gonna lie to you. Straight up, would not have a good time.
I'll tell you what, though, this game has been a testament really to how much I'm willing to endure as a gamer in general. Because it's like I've always wanted to play through a game from like made by From Software. I initially wanted to do it with Dark Souls. I initially wanted to do it with Bloodborne. If anything, Elden Ring has shown me that I should go back to some of those games at some point and reassess what I want to do. And of course, this is the game that kind of was that whole trigger, if I were to say that gateway into these type of games. But going back to this boss battle, right? It's like it was a two-part boss battle. The first form wasn't too bad. The second was a little bit harder, and you have to go and like beat this thing. I did it during my first try for the second form. I'm happy to say that because if I wasn't powered up to where I was, I would have died fairly quickly. But I'll tell you one last thing before I end my gaming stuff this week. So there's a boss in Lingrave. His name is Patches. Patches is a
Houlihan?
reoccurring.
Is he the Irish
No.
bowler from No? Average Joe's?
Now,
Okay.
let me ask you something. You know, during the Call of Duty games and stuff like that, there's this one joke character that kind of revolves around himself and stuff. Like his name is Rico or whatever the fuck it is.
No.
Well, in sort of like From Software games, there's this character called Patches, right? He appears in some games, and
If you
I
can
didn't know
dodge
this
a
at the
wrench, you can
time.
dodge a ball. That's all I remember from Patches. Sorry,
What I
go
didn't know
ahead.
at the time is like if you save this character and stuff like that, which I initially did through this boss battle, because I was literally like 1 HP towards death with him. He had like 1 HP left. I could have easily have killed him, but I spared him because he had a recipe I needed to make these golden like pickled fowl foots, which will help me increase gaining runes for like farming stuff. So did need that. But when you save him, he'll betray you in some way. And yeah, he did betray me in some way. Because let me tell you something. While I was getting up to the Flame Manor, I was near this cliff, right? And I see a couple of like glowing like rocks and stuff like that towards the edge of like these things. Oh, okay, if there's something I need to pick up over here. And so I go over there, and all of a sudden a cutscene triggers, right? And so I'm basically looking over like my character's looking over the thing, and all of a sudden I get pushed down this fucking cliff, and I literally like fallen like 40 or 50 feet and stuff like that. And as we're looking up, I see these fucking patches looking down. It's like, oh, don't go near Flame Manor. And of course, being ever so loving person that I am, I went straight to Flame Manor.
Of course, as you do.
And he is one of the NPCs there. And, well, let's just say that he's going to have something waiting in store for him after I'm done with him.
He's no longer alive.
But yes, I definitely experience why people absolutely love to punch the shit out of Patches, because he's one of those characters that's kind of sniveling. He'll grovel for his life to be spared, and all of a sudden he'll do anything he can in his power in order to betray you. Oh yeah, that's definitely something. But in closing and stuff, I'm at the battle with the whole like Lord Rykard and stuff. After I'm finished with that boss battle, I want to get the runes that I got going right now, like the great runes and stuff. I want to activate them, so at least I will have some bit of the things to where use my rune arcs and stuff to fully charge them up when I'm going to other boss battles. So yeah, that's my slog through Elden Ring.
Well, Gables, while you were talking about Elden Ring here, I was listening, I promise. But I did some investigative journalism, as I do, on this 3 beers in at 11:05 p.m. Central Time at night on a Friday. So I was looking at the thing does in fact have a wrist, a little bit of a wrist. And I was trying to figure out how to do it. So I did like a turkey thing here, and I drew.
Basically, and that's assuming that it's that small.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see on my screen here. If you're not, I apologize. Please go to youtube.com and search for Drunk Nerds, and you'll find us here at the 1 hour and 16-minute mark here. I drew my hand on turkey. I used the back of one of my I owe the government $34. I got to pay that this week. Yeah. So here as you can see, I drew my hand. I traced my hand like a turkey. I moved my middle finger. I moved it by accident, so you can see the little line there. But here's the needle, and I don't know like how long a needle is, but I assume that's close enough. So it seems like it's doable, but you have to inject it with like the pointer and possibly the middle finger, and you can push it into the thumb. And that's the only thing I could think of in my investigative journalism on this matter in 4 minutes. That's the best I can do. But I'll look into some more, and I'll come back to you with the full 60-minute preview next week. But Gables, before we get out of here, we didn't mention it last week. I think I might just make this an every other week thing. I'm not sure, unless big things happen. Gables, we got to talk about Fantasy Critic.
Okay.
Some things have happened. So if you're watching on YouTube you can see on the screen here, I am showing you our Fantasy Critic page. You can go there in the link tree. I'll put the link to our Fantasy Critic at Fantasy Critic Games, fantasycritic.games rather, and you can see, you can follow along it's open to see. You can't join it, but you can see in there and see what's going on with us. So you and I had 3 games come out today that are on our list. Yep. You had Ghostbusters Tokyo. I had Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. You have next week. You have Moss Book 2 actually got a release date just recently. Yeah, coming out next week. And then I have Weird West coming out next week as well. Both of those coming out on the 31st. And then we have I also have it'll be the Show 22 and Lego Star Wars coming out on the 5th. And then we don't have anything as of right now until June. Then we have a few games in June. So we're pretty clear there. Gables, you son of a bitch. I just fucking saw this. I haven't been on our thing in a while. Gables has bid on 4 games. And I feel like Gables is just trying to hurt me at this point. He's just adding games to hurt me. Tachia, which is supposed to be coming out sometime this spring. Trekayami, which has been at a couple events so far this year, is coming out sometime in spring as well. Gables also bid on The Quarry. You fucking C-word. You son of a bitch. And Nintendo Switch Sports and also Gotham Knights. Gables bid on all 5 of those games. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 of those games. Fuck, I got 19 hours to figure out what I need to do. All right, I'm gonna have to. All right, Gables has got $50. I got $82 available on bidding bucks. So we'll have to see there. As of right now, though, Here's some updated scores going on here. So I have like Horizon. I got 19 points for Pokemon 13. Gran Turismo 7, sitting at 17 right now for that. Kirby the Forgotten Lands, one of the new games. I got 15 points for that.
Yes.
Rainbow Six Extractions. Every time I look at it, I lose a point on it. So I'm at 2 points.
Every time you look at it, you lose a point.
I lose a point. Dying Light 2, I'm at 6 points. Destiny, Witch Queen, 18. Seafood, 10. Nobody Saves the World, 10. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, one of the new games, at 9 points. Total Warhammer 3 also keeps losing points, at 16 for that one, though. And then WWE 2K22 at 6 points. But the AEW wrestling game, which is on my list, Gables, looks like the name might have leaked. AEW Fight Forever. So we're getting closer.
Okay.
Apparently, they're planning on it coming out here soon. So hopefully you got some news on that one. So moving on here, the Gables side here, we got Elden Ring at 31, Triangle Strategy at 13, Windjammers at 7, King of Fighters at 11, Tunic at 15. He's got a 0 because he bid on Mario Kart. Fucking idiot. What an idiot. Ghostwire Tokyo, surprisingly, only at a 76. A little lower than I thought. I thought it'd be, I was thinking high 70s, low 80s. So you got 6 points for that. All the other world at a 15. So, but you've only got 5 spots left. And he bid on 5 games. So Gables, 3 months of the year, could be out of spots, which would be great for me. Maybe I let him take those. And then I have the rest of the year to add game. I still got 9 spots left. But right now, Gables is at 99 points. I got 142. But I have had 12 games come. Oh, no. Yeah, 12 games come out to Gables only had 7 games. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting at right now. So, yeah, that's what's going on with us on that. Just want to mention it real fast. Like I said, I might mention it. I might bring it up next week or in 2 weeks. We'll see. But then, like I said, like as of right now, we have nothing really coming out. After like the first week of April, we're pretty much out until June. So probably not going to mention it too many more times in the time being. But Gables, that will wrap it up for us this week. If you liked all that, you liked my hand drawing, please let me know in the comments. Give us a big thumbs up on YouTube. Download us wherever we're at on podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those places. Please, like I said, like, follow, subscribe. Really would appreciate it. Like I said, helps out a lot, especially if you share it, tell your friends. And I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, have yourself a fun time. Definitely play some good games. But thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bump me over here.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
See ya.